Welcome back to the Life of Phys Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. On this episode, I sit down with Matt Day, a photographer and YouTuber whose black and white documentary work has inspired a global community of creators. Matt and I connected instantly through shared loves of skateboarding, creativity, and the realities of loss. And over the course of our 90-minute conversation, that connection turned into a genuine friendship. This wasn't a surface-level discussion. It was an honest, thoughtful exchange about life, work, and the long road of creative practice. For more than 2 decades, Matt has built a life around storytelling through his lens. Based in Chillicothe, Ohio, his work focuses on documenting everyday life with intention, quiet moments, familiar places, and the people closest to him. His photography isn't about trends or algorithms, it's about paying attention. Matt began his career photographing weddings, events, and corporate work before intentionally shifting towards a more personal and fulfilling creative path. Today, his focus is almost entirely on documentary and portrait projects, while sharing that journey with his audience through his YouTube channel, now a trusted space for honest conversations about film photography, storytelling, and creative growth. His collaborations with brands like Leica, Hasselblad, Fujifilm, and Polaroid reflect a craft-first philosophy rooted in process, patience, and purpose. Chillicothe isn't just where Matt lives. It's inseparable from his work. The town, the people, and the rhythm of daily life are woven deeply into his images. He has published several photo books, including Friend of Mine and Surveyor, both exploring memory, time, and the human connection through his signature black and white imagery. Beyond photography, Matt is a husband, father, skateboarder, former sandblaster, and current woodworker. Proof that creativity doesn't live in isolation, it lives inside real life. This conversation isn't just about photography, it's about slowing down, honoring the ordinary, and building a creative life rooted in me. Matt's approach is a reminder that some of the most powerful stories are found by staying close to home and paying attention to what's already there. Now let's get to the show.
Your thing, man.
I had Taki KO on and we had the best conversation and I'm like, oh, hey, let me hit record.
Yeah.
So
Taki's the best.
Jason is high on my list of people I want on.
I will happily make the connection there and tell him, because I had him on my first podcast I did around 10 years ago, and it was a shot in the dark. I didn't think, it was just like, I know he's following me on Instagram. The worst he can say is no. I'm just going to ask him. And he was like, yeah, of course. That'd be great. And since then we've kept in touch, and yeah, I'm sure he would be happy to do it.
Oh, dude, I would appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
Him and Ray Barbie are 2 guys that I want to share their creative journey.
I will pass the word on to Ray as well. Funny story. I was thinking today while I was at work, I was like, I need to text Ray back, because he's going to be on, I'm going to do sort of a book flip through of his new book. And he's going to have like a conversation on the channel about the book as I'm flipping through it. And so he's another one. I'll let him know as well.
We connected on Instagram briefly.
Yeah.
Over my joke of me and the no comply was because of Ray Barbie.
Yes, same.
my best friend actually has the sock man tattooed on his calf.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was
that's so sick.
May have had a few beers involved.
Yeah.
It was a really good moment for him.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
I didn't know
make far worse decisions off of a few beers than getting that tribute tattoo.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like, again, I appreciate your time. I know time is hard to come by. It just happens to be Canadian Thanksgiving. So
perfect.
I'm home today.
You got the day. Beautiful.
Yeah, we had our dinner last night, so I had the kids over and we had our dinner. So today I was actually sleeping. I have a couch in my office right here. You can't quite see it. I was actually sleeping on it, and I was like, oh shit, I got to get up.
Yeah.
I'm a one-man show, so this is all like,
I feel it.
I've done, you're the same.
I know exactly how you feel, man.
Yeah, dude. But dude, this is incredible for me because I'm a fan of your work. Like, I find the stuff you do, it inspires me as somebody who's new to the creative space and putting myself out there. I really looked for people that had a similar journey. Like, they don't have a production crew. They don't have 1,000 people doing all the work for them. They're the one-man show, but they're real. They still have to work jobs.
Yeah.
Like, and you understand, like, you put a podcast together. I work a full-time job. I have 6 children and 2 grandkids.
Oh my God.
And then I do this, which takes up a ton of time.
Yeah. And you know, on top of that, I think like the time it takes for the actual act of recording these things and doing all of that, even the time of editing, the time of, there's all of that. Even when you're not working, when you're in the command center there for all aspects of the process,
Yeah.
your mind never stops thinking about all of the things that need to be done and all of the pieces to the puzzle. And it's so easy to get overwhelmed by that. But it's the only way it works, I think. You know what I mean? It's the only way to do it is to just do it and
Yep.
keep pushing.
Every minute, every break at work, every lunch break, I'm on my phone and I'm answering emails and I'm like,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking at stats and like we just hit 70, it was 73 countries we were listened into
Oh,
now. And I was
amazing.
like, dang,
Dude.
September was 10,000 streams, first time ever. And I was
Hell
like,
yes.
oh my, it's working.
Yes, dude. When you see it in real time and you see locations and places you've never even heard of, seeing that like that's when I'm shipping books or prints out and I see a country that I would have never imagined. It just you gotta appreciate those when they happen.
Yeah. And it's so like, it just reconfirms what I'm trying to do.
For
It's
sure.
like I do things different. I'm not a gear guy, so I don't talk about gear a lot, very rarely, unless it's very, like I had Krista Funk, who's a surf photographer.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's known as the Queen of Pipeline. So
Yeah, yeah.
I had her on, and the gear worked into her story, like the
For sure.
housing and everything. But on stories like this, it's about you, it's about your journey. I want people to hear a different side. And ever since I made that little comment on your live stream,
Yeah.
the amount of emails I've received from your fans going, "When's that episode happening? When's it happening? I'm
Really?
so excited for this episode. When's it happening?" I'm
Seriously.
like, wow. All I did is I just happened. I don't even know. I was just scrolling through and it was a live stream. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
make a comment. Like,
Every Wednesday night.
oh, you do it every Wednesday.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sick. That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
just went through it. I'm like, hey, looking forward to our conversation. And then yeah, people have been, like people started following the show and then started messaging me about it.
I love it.
And I'm like, well, it's probably going to be out around Christmas time. Like, just be
Yeah.
patient. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got, I'm doing one a week right now. So
for sure.
I'm like, you got to be patient. There's
Yeah,
lots of awesomeness is
absolutely.
coming. So
Absolutely.
yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a great conversation. It goes by super, super quick.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, we'll talk about your book. We'll talk about your journey. We'll talk about plans for the future. I always ask for words of wisdom.
for sure.
And then my biggest connection with everything with my photography is I broke my ankle for the 9th time when I was 33.
Oh my
And
God.
it pretty much mid skateboarding was no more.
Yeah.
Well, at least skateboarding at the level that I was skating at still in my 30s.
Right.
Um, so now everything is like super wide board, big trucks, soft wheels. I can't
Yeah, yeah.
slide things. I can't flip it, but I can just go, I can carve.
Dude, that's literally just the feel. That's all you need. You know what
And
I mean?
and you get it. I mean, you're a skateboarder, you
Yes.
understand. I
Yes.
always say like the click of the shutter is like the first time that I still remember of rolling down the street on a skateboard.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
feel of the
Yeah.
concrete through your
That
shoes.
feedback.
Yep.
Yeah, man,
So
1000%. I fully get that. Like the time that I have on my skateboard now, I don't there are some days where I'll have an itch to like try and land a trick that I haven't done in a while, just a flip trick in the driveway on flat ground. And most of the time I'm like, I don't want to spend my limited time with this thing fighting tricks and getting frustrated. I had my teens to do all of that.
yep.
I just want to enjoy just cruising around in the driveway with the kids and or cruising around town, like it's just that feeling alone, that's all I need.
Yeah, I have a skate park. It's about 3 blocks up the hill from me,
Oh,
and it's
amazing.
got 8 foot perfect transition, bull corners, and a spine. And then I look at the street section with the big rail, and I'm like, "Ooh, I could backside lip slide that."
Yeah,
That's what my head said.
right.
It's like you can do that, and I'm like, yeah, I barely walk as it is, but
Yeah.
but it's
Time
like,
catches up, man.
yeah,
It's funny to like catch yourself feeling things like that in your 30s and you're like, man, this I never felt this before just from a regular day out, you know what I mean?
oh,
Insane.
dude, I love it. I love that we both understand. I
Oh, 1000%.
I don't know if you've ever tried to explain what skateboarding means to you to
Yeah.
somebody who's never skateboarded, and they
Yeah.
look at you like that's a kid's toy, man. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
I just shake my head. I'm like, you will never know.
No, and it's weird too that like I feel like nowadays I see more like cruisers and longboards and things like that that are just within like kids today,
Yeah,
like teenagers. I feel like I didn't see people that wasn't just like a thing for people to have kids in the neighborhood to have like a penny board or something like that. So I feel like the entry to that feeling is so much more apparent now. Like more people are exposed to it, but I don't get the idea of like passively owning a skateboard and it's like, oh yeah, I ride this thing sometimes. It's like the idea of discovering it and not being like, holy shit, this is my everything now.
yeah,
It's so weird that I'm like, you guys have these like super comfortable skateboards at your disposal and you're not out there all the time. You're on TikTok. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
It's
crazy.
imagine all those longboarders trying to do it back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah,
They would have been
exactly.
annihilated.
Yeah.
But even like the women's scene has grown so much.
Dude, crazy compared to like when I was like really getting into skating, the amount of women like Alyssa Steamer was obviously already established. What was her name? Was it Vanessa Torres on
Yep,
Element? Yeah, like that was those were the two names that I knew of at
yeah.
that time. You know what I mean? And now it's crazy.
I go back a little further. I'm 50
Yeah.
now, so I'm a little further. I started skating in '82, so
Oh man.
for me it was Cara Beth Burnside,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And I watched her because here in Canada we had the Richmond Skate Ranch. So Kevin Harris from the Bones Brigade, he had this wicked indoor park. It had the mini chin ramp, so 4 foot high mini chin ramp. And then on the other side, he had a 7 foot spine, and then he had the 9 foot just a vert, and then he had the 14 foot vert ramp from Expo '86, all in one warehouse. It was so sick, and I
That's
mean,
insane.
I spent every crappy day weather-wise there.
Yeah.
So you got to see all these pros come through town, and watching the way they skated then, say late '80s, early '90s, to the
Yeah.
style and power and aggression they have now. Like, I don't know if you still follow a lot of skaters, but like Sky Brown, she's 16
Yeah.
years old and she's got the best style on a skateboard,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
crazy.
it's super
It
cool.
the way that yeah, like little kids skating at the level that they're skating, they don't look like little kids on the skateboard in terms of their style and control.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like they're still finding their footing. Like they look and skate like just like a regular adult skater would. You know what I mean? In terms of how they do the tricks, how they're comfortable on the board. Um, it's crazy. It's progressing at such a crazy level. Before I forget, when you were talking about that, I just happened to think, have you had Grant Britton on before?
I've tried 3 times and he
Really?
hasn't responded to me.
I will also try and push that along as well because as you were talking, I was like, man, you got to talk to Grant because Grant is one, he's a great conversation in general, but obviously in that world,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys would it'd be great to have you guys
The
talking.
legendary Todd Swank cover.
Yeah, dude.
I got his book and I was so excited for it.
Yeah.
And because I had that cover on my wall,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And I remember I've seen other people attempt to recreate it,
Right.
but
It's it's such
iconic.
an of yeah, it is one of the most iconic skate photos, and the fact that it's a push and it's not a trick. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like I think that goes back to that point of like you distill all of it down to just that, and like that's all you need. Just that push, you get the stride in which like he takes the photo, and obviously just the composition of the photo itself with the shadow. It's just like burned in everyone's mind at this point. It's so sick to see how that one photo, and that's one of his photos. You know what I mean? Like Grant's work is amazing, but when you think about like an iconic photo, that's one that's just yeah, that
There's
defines it.
another one that sticks in my brain is back when Raging Waters in Virginia was still there. They had the big, huge half pipe that was like a quarter circle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's an OJ Wheels ad with Hosoi in his Jimmy Z yellow tiger stripe shorts doing a rocket air, but they're shooting straight up. So the guy he's above the photographer
Yeah,
and his hair is all going crazy and he's got the classic Hosoi look.
yeah.
Just something
I've probably seen the photo, I'm
that
sure.
it's just like it's one of those things that's burned in my brain,
Yeah,
you know? And
yeah,
I just love skateboarding. Like if I could still do it the way I did it being younger, I would be out there.
yeah,
But now it's, I'll grab the board maybe once a month,
yeah,
and I've been down for a year, not been I haven't been able to do anything because I got super sick last October.
yeah.
So I'm back now. So now I'm going to start, being on the bike again to work and then working my
Hell yeah.
get back in shape because I've become round and I don't like it.
That happens.
Yeah.
Seasons of life, that happens.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get into it.
Perfect. So we'll just start. We're recording. I've got the backup and the main going. So just introduce
Beautiful.
yourself, where you're from, and then we'll kind of break into your backstory and kind of work your way up to where we are currently. We'll talk about your book that you have still available.
Yes,
And,
sir.
give people some pointers on what it's like to be on the wonderful YouTube space.
Right. Yes. I have many thoughts, so we'll get into them.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Matt Day, and I'm a photographer from Chillicothe, Ohio. I've lived here almost all 35, soon to be years of my life, and I've for about 11 or so, a little more than 11 years now, I've been trying to share all of that with everyone on YouTube. So, started with kind of just sharing overviews of different film cameras, trying to just put information out there that wasn't out there at the time, and just kind of did it on the side. And slowly but surely, it continued to grow, and that's the last few years kind of been the main thing that I've been doing. But I've been a photographer for about 20 years now, and over that time, everything from portraits to music to weddings to e-commerce studio stuff, like just anything and everything, whatever I can do to pay the bills and keep it going, one more day with my camera. That's kind of been the motto. So that's where we're at now. Yeah, it's interesting. I've been looking forward to the conversation because I'm at an interesting point in my life and in relation to uh, photography, making a living through photography and YouTube. And just as of a few weeks ago, starting a new job where I don't have anything to do with a camera. Um, at least there's like 1% of the job where I have used a camera already in the last few weeks. But
Which got in the
it
way. This new job got in the way of our first recording. So everybody
yes.
who emailed me and messaged me on Instagram asking when this is happening, it's definitely happening. You know, we've both seen your posts. We've both commented. It's
Yes.
coming. Um,
It's here.
Matt, my friend Ainsley in Texas, big fan. He's gonna be super stoked to hear your story.
Oh, awesome.
Incredible photographer. So, you know, I was telling him he's like one of my best friends, so he gets a little of the inside scoop
For
of
sure.
the lineup of people that I have lined up already.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
just like reading through. I was telling him, he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure who that is," and I was like, "Oh, yeah." And so on Tuesday, I'm recording in the morning with Kyle McDougall, and then I have Matt Day, and he's like, "Excuse me." So you definitely make an impression. You've made an impression on YouTube. You've connected with people all over the world because of how you share your information, you know, and I'm looking forward to hearing that journey, but I'm also looking forward to this recent switch where you have a job to go to now.
Yes. That I'm like running out the door to get to. And when I'm home, not all the time, but when I'm laying there about to fall asleep, I'm thinking about being back in the shop again the next day. It's been amazing. We'll get to it, but yeah, the whole YouTube thing, man, I'm grateful to hear that people were interested, that anyone was interested in hearing the conversation. That people are interested in watching the next video. Every time I upload a video, it's like, are people still watching? You know what I mean? Because it's been so long, and I'm sure like over time, it's obviously not everyone has continued watching every video. There's new faces all the time, but there are people who have been watching from the beginning, and I've tried to I've tried to be an open book for the sake of showing that like I'm just another person with a camera doing very much the same stuff a lot of us are doing. Growing up here, I didn't have friends that were into photography. I didn't have a community that I was involved in. I wasn't in art school or anything like that. So my influence in photography was anything I saw in skate magazines or online. So, websites like Flickr back in the day were huge with the photography community, and I learned so much from that website and so much about lighting from that website. And um, it was just such a like only online was I like interacting with other photographers, but it was never to a the extent that I what I do now and everything that I share. um the whole YouTube channel, it really, like I said, it started out in 2014. At the time there weren't really that many videos on certain film cameras, and just showing here's how the camera operates, here's how you load the film, here's the kind of battery it takes, here's where you can find it, here's what these are going for. Try to buy one with this model because, XYZ, like just trying to put stuff like that out there because I knew if I was searching for it, other people were too. And um, it really was never, I didn't think anyone would watch at all. And so the idea of it growing a following and sponsorships and being able to make a living from it, none of that was ever thought to be a possibility. At the time when I started it, I was still doing weddings, a lot of family portraits. Let's see, I was also working for my dad, engraving tombstones in the cemeteries. So that's what I did alongside photography for about 10 years with my dad. And which is it's an odd contrast to like so much of photography for me is like you're celebrating life, you're documenting life, and it's this like it's a it's celebrating that. And then there's your my morning job was uh you know engraving death dates. So there's always the reminder, time is precious.
Yes, sir.
Um, so yeah, I started with just kind of sharing videos about the cameras I was using. Uh, Early on, there were never any photos in those videos because to me it didn't really make sense that anyone would want to see photos in a YouTube video because that's not the point of YouTube. In my mind, it was like it's a video. It's a means of communication to talk about these things.
Yeah.
But people were like, "Where are the pictures?" And I'm like, "Why do you want to see what I take? It's nothing exciting to you. You know what I mean?" That was my thought, at least, was unless the subject matter is like universally exciting, which most of the stuff that I enjoy taking photos is just my own small, little corner of the world in my own like local area. I'm not like traveling and like taking photos overseas and going on these excursions. Like it's pretty boring stuff to most people is how I would see it. And so I started sharing more work through the YouTube channel, and I would share stuff online, um, on social media like Instagram, things like that. I would share my work there, and it was mostly kind of with other photography friends that I had, like early Instagram days on in the photography space. Um, Not necessarily like the iPhone photography community because I feel like that was its own sort of thing on Instagram. Um, but like other photographers who were shooting film and developing film and printing at home and like people who were just into the whole process. I met so many other like-minded and just other passionate photographers through just sharing online. Um, and so many of them are still like some of my closest friends today. Shout out, I'm wearing right now Baltimore Photo Space tee, Kyle Miles, his amazing bookstore and gallery space, him and Tori in Baltimore, they made. I met Kyle through Instagram like 12 years ago, and to this day he's one of my close friends. And um it really opened my eyes that like you can actually make real connections with people just through sharing what you're interested in, and so I just continued doing that, and it continued to grow, and I was still doing work, um photography work and everything at the time, and working with my dad. And then of course, at this all while this is happening, I'm also having kids and navigating fatherhood and figuring all of that out. And in 2017, my dad passed away very suddenly from a stroke. And so that was like that was the first sort of, this is not bad, but this is just an interesting position to be in where I'm putting myself in front of the camera on a regular basis, and I'm an open book because we're all the same in more ways than we realize. Like we're all dealing with and going through a lot of the same things. And that was like one of the first things, I guess, with being on YouTube where I was like, I don't know that I really want to be on camera right now and that I'm comfortable being on camera right now, but that's life and you gotta keep moving and keep going. And so uh just continued with everything I was doing. I was also taking over his business at the time because uh I was going to be taking it over that following year, but he was going to be sort of there along with me as I navigated all of that. And so that was a challenge to kind of navigate all of that, both personally and professionally, obviously, with his business and mine. Um, but kept it going. And later that year, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was sort of another like, all right, unexpected kind of thing, but things that happen to all of us. And shortly after that, I got sick from working in the cemeteries from a tick bite, and I was in the neuro ICU for about a week up at Columbus. This was in summer of 2018. Had only been working in the cemeteries by myself for about a year and a half with the business, and had a tick bite, and the inflammation in my brain and around my spinal cord was causing some like uh, neurological issues where uh, not really a full paralysis, but essentially I couldn't really use my right. I couldn't lift my right arm, or it was trying to remember because it was reversed. The right arm, the right hand I could use, the right arm I couldn't lift. The left hand, uh, or the left hand I could use, I couldn't lift the arm. Right hand, I could use the hand, but or couldn't use the hand, but I could lift the arm.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was this weird like I can still kind of do things, but not fully. And it was like that for about 6 or 7 months before that finally came back. It was a lot of physical therapy and occupational therapy, things like that. Um, but I obviously couldn't work in the cemeteries anymore. I couldn't even pick up my kids, let alone the equipment and everything. So that was kind of building in the background of getting behind on that. And when I was in the hospital and things were really uncertain as to what was even going on, um, someone from my community who watched my videos set up a GoFundMe while I was in the hospital. He reached out to Molly, my wife, and talked to her and let her know, but I had no idea. I was out of it. And essentially just wanted to help with the medical expenses that we were up against, and as they were continuing to grow, especially. And when Molly shared all of that with me, and I was like with it enough to read messages from people, and I could see my phone and update people and tell people what was going on, though most of the people already knew because my wife was kind of sharing things. That was a really overwhelming kind of moment where people that that I've never met, that I've never heard of, that I've never seen, um, were compelled to support us. It it was really really eye opening in a lot of ways, and you know, uh, I think leading up to that, I always hoped that people enjoyed the videos, and that there was um, that I was providing anything of value, even if just a break from the day, for a quick video. Um, and it really, really meant a lot, obviously, to have that financial burden, um, to be able to sleep at night with that without being able to work, and with all the bills, but just knowing that there were people that cared. That was like it made me feel like it wasn't just all make believe, because you're talking to a camera, you're talking to yourself, and you don't always get that immediate feedback from people like you would in a conversation like this. And um it really made me kind of think about my priorities, and just thinking like, this is, if I can do anything to repay people for the support, is to just be here and be as present and available as much as I can. You know what I mean? And I had an offer from a close family friend who was interested in buying the business, the engraving business, because they knew I wasn't able to work anyway. And I was kind of thinking like, if I can't get back to this ever, because there were months going by that there was no improvement, and doctors were just saying, just keep waiting. These nerves and things like that, it can take a while. Um, I just started thinking like, It was maybe a few weeks when I got out of the hospital. I shot a very small wedding. It was more of an elopement for a close friend, but I did it all on a tripod, and I had to work slower, but I was able to do it. And I just said, if that's how I work from now on, and that's what I got to do, that's what I got to do. I want to give this everything I have in terms of this community of photographers, and just try to contribute as much as I can. And so that was when I started just kind of going, not necessarily all in, because I was still doing photography work for hire, and weddings and things like that, when I would kind of got back to it. But that was when I really started to focus, I think, heavily on YouTube, and just thinking like, what can I do to keep this going, to grow it, to do all of that. So,
I'm glad to see you're doing better. I mean,
yes.
I can,
Yeah, you can relate.
I can relate, man. Like so I lost my dad in 99. We had fallen out of touch for 10 years because of actions that I've talked about on previous shows. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna keep kicking the horse, right?
yeah.
And then I had this epiphany December of 1998. I had my 3-year-old and my wife, and I looked at them and I said, "We're packing, we're getting in the car, we're driving to Oregon, and we're going to show up on my dad's doorstep." I just felt like something I had to make the effort.
Yeah.
So he could meet his granddaughter, meet my wife at the time. So we did it, showed up on his doorstep. He opened the door, and my dad was a burly Vietnam vet, took no shit, tears in his eyes. And he's like, "I've been waiting for this."
Oh, man.
And then I kind of turned sideways, and I was like, "Well, I got some important people you need to meet."
Yeah.
And then we were down there for a couple of weeks, and I grew up in Oregon, just outside of Portland. And then I was sitting there, and we looked at each other, and we're like, obviously the father-son relationship, that dynamic doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
Like, let's just try being friends.
Yeah.
Planned a fishing trip up to the on the outside of the coastline here in Canada. All this great stuff was being planned. And then like 5 months later, he was gone. And
man,
I have those moments where I'm like, I wish I would have listened more. I wish I would have not been so stubborn for 10 years. And, I still have my traumas from my father. I still have the things I'm working through.
Yeah.
But I also, we understand PTSD now.
Yeah.
We understand these things that if he was still around, he could have been helped with.
Right.
And then 2015, I lost my mom. And then 2017, I lost my kid's mom. So it was like this crazy thing. And I've always been that guy, like, I'm a warrior, pile it on my back. Like, I got this. Don't even worry.
Yeah.
And I've been go, go, go ever since. I mean, my ex and I had 4 kids together. So like I had 4 kids, 3 of them 2 years apart. Like,
oh my God,
it was crazy. Quit a career to work at a bicycle shop, making like no money, but I was home. I could be home every day at a certain time.
The availability, that's essential.
Yeah. And then I found my current partner, Tara, and she had 2 kids, and then we just had all worked out. We moved in together 12 years ago, and it's been, it goes like this, but it's been, it's been nice having someone support my vision, because I have a lot of crazy ideas. And then last October, actually October 30th, it'll be 1 year. The world decided to show me I was human. And I was riding home from work on my bike, and I was wearing jeans, and it started pouring rain. So I got a small 2.5 millimeter saddle sore that turned into a strep A staph infection.
Oh my God.
Almost took my life.
Yeah.
And took over my whole leg from my hip to my ankle. And I was in the hospital for almost 4 weeks. And then I was at home for another 4 weeks. And then all said and done, by the time I even got income in, it was 12 weeks. But like you, I put a call out, and it wasn't a ton, but I put a call out to the people who support my show, that love my show.
Yeah.
They were enough to, like, I could keep my credit card company off my back.
Yes,
You know, the little
exactly.
things.
Yes.
I could have somebody run downstairs and grab me a coffee because I couldn't even leave my hospital room. I was on a no contact order.
Oh my
So
God.
like I couldn't even
Yeah.
go get a coffee. And I was there for like just under 4 weeks leading up to my 50th birthday. And my whole goal, I was like, can I just go home for my birthday?
Yeah.
And the day prior to that, the doctor said, man, you're here for another 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
And I was like, but my birthday's in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to go home. Can I?
Yeah.
Then the nurses, who were all like, they were awesome. They were all on my side. They were like, maybe we can get you a release for the day.
There you go.
And I was like, that's like a tease though. Like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have this great night with my family.
And then have to go right back.
But then I have to come back at midnight because I'm on crazy antibiotics.
Right.
And so the day before, my normal doctor comes in and she looks at my leg. But I guess this was 2 days. Birthday was on Wednesday. This would have been a Monday. She looks at my leg and she's like, as much as you want to go home, you're just safer being here. We need to figure out why it's not healing. And I became a very calm, friendly individual. And I was like, whatever. Okay, cool. I'm here for 2 more weeks. I'm worried I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose everything I've worked my life for.
Right.
So I was like mad. You know, my wife's like, oh, I'm leaving because you're definitely not in a good headspace. Like, this isn't going to go well. I'm like, fair enough, get out.
Yep. Yep.
And then that night, like, I'm not overly religious, but I like prayed to everybody I could think of. And
Right.
I'm like, just give me a sign that this is going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
And then that night, the whole infection started to drain.
Really.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then
Yeah.
the doctor came in the next morning and she looked at my leg and she's like, what happened? Because I'm assuming they thought I was like trying to poke it to get it to,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, all night. I've been up all night. It's been doing this. She's like, okay, well, you have your next round of antibiotics are coming, like blah, 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 blah. She leaves. 2 seconds later, the nurse comes back in. And I was like, oh, she's like, so how does it feel to know you're going home today? And I'm like, pardon? And
Oh
then
my God.
she's like, you got to do one more, your next thing of antibiotics at noon and you're out of here. So
That's
obviously,
amazing.
I'm calling my wife. I'm like, hey, she's a teacher. And this is October. So they're in school, or November.
Right.
I'm like, hey, like, I'm out of here today. You need to come get me, figure it out.
Right. Yeah.
And then I hang up and I look over and the nurse is coming in with my antibiotics. I'm like, but it's not for 2 hours. The doctor said you could have it now. You're out of here in 45 minutes.
Oh my.
So then I pick up the phone, I call her back and I'm like, hey, can you get someone to cover your class like right now?
Right.
Because I'm out of here in 45 minutes. And then, they come in with a wheelchair to wheel me out. And I was like, nope, I was wheeled in.
Yeah.
I'm walking out, which I probably should have taken the wheelchair because I hadn't really walked in 4 weeks.
Right.
But like, I made it to the door. I got home and I laid on the couch. You know, they had set up all this space here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All my pictures and everything set up because I had just been working from a desk. I hadn't had time.
Right.
To do it. So I just chilled here, watched TV for the next few weeks, went back to work like 3 days before Christmas.
Oh man.
And then
that's awesome.
off for another 2 weeks because we closed between Christmas and New Year's.
Right.
I was off
holiday.
and like stressed because I had no money. But
Right.
you know what? When we put ourselves out there as being real and authentic, the people who listen to what we do, you know, they feel like they're part of our life, our day-to-day movement.
Yeah.
And when we're struggling, they worry and they want to help. And that's why it was like hearing this GoFundMe story.
Yeah.
And I think I actually remember you talked about this on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I remember I listened to that, man. It brought tears to my eyes because I related because of what I had just gone through.
Yeah.
And, you know, I still worry. Like, I love riding my bike. It's like my biggest, most fun thing to do. And I've had hundreds of saddle sores in my life.
Right.
But my worry was like, is this going to happen again? Because like, I'm not going to make it another 12 weeks if I have to.
Exactly.
You know? So it's just like your brain is saying one thing. You're worried if you're going to even be able to lift your kids again.
Yeah.
But you have this community of people who are like, what do we need to do to help you?
Yeah. And
It's so incredible.
people that, I'd never talked to Chris before who set it up. Um, he's since then become a very close friend. Because I genuinely feel like, I don't know what we would have done with I mean, just the cost of an ambulance from Chillicothe to Columbus. Good God. Uh it was genuinely yeah, it shook me when Molly first told me about it, and I was just bawling in a hospital bed. And I think for years there's been this like feeling of, have I repaid my debts? Have I been able to show up enough for the people that showed up for me? And because it's yeah, it the people that know me and have been here through uh, so much of my life that I didn't expect to happen when I decided I'm just going to share my life with people, all the ups and downs. And I had no idea the downs that life had in store for me. Um, and so being able to trust my community that I share with has been a really powerful thing for me. I mentioned earlier the live streams. I stream every week, every Wednesday night, and that's become a part of my week that I look forward to it so much because it's a chance to just catch up with all of the usual people every week, and we're talking about how our week has been. We're looking at photo books together. We're opening up mail that people have sent in. And it's the closest feeling I've had to the idea of community. Because I that's a term that gets used a lot online, and trying to like materialize that and in the real physical way, try to share that. It's hard when you're behind a screen and to a camera so much of the time. And the live streams have been just such a refreshing kind of way to interact with people on a regular basis. Because over those years that when I decided like, okay, I'm gonna give this everything I've got, it was at least one, if not two videos a week for a while, and just as much as I can, doing podcasts, doing other podcasts, doing anything that I possibly could, just trying to never let the wheel stop rolling. That was always the thing. If anything, at that time, I was trying to accelerate it, but that's the idea of just slow and steady, even when life continued to evolve and my roles and responsibilities changed, having more children, less time, all of these factors, like the whole just slow and steady. If I can't do a new video every single week, at the very least, every month, there's going to be, two or three videos. They might all come at the end of the month because it's been a particularly crazy month, or at least as I've learned over the last year or so, this is just the new schedule. You add a third kid into the mix and varying ages, and it changes everything. So, um, I've since then, at least over the last few years, that's been the mentality. But um, that time frame, I was really doing as much as I could and as many videos as I could. And in 2021, my mom passed away from her breast cancer, and that was when losing my dad, it was so unexpected. He had a stroke. I'm thankful I was able to say goodbye, and he was still, with us enough to say goodbye to everybody. Um, but it was still so sudden, and there was things that needed to be taken care of, with the business, and it was just kind of like, got to keep it moving. And grieving, this is new terrain for me. It's the first time losing a parent, so I don't know how I'm supposed to process all of this, especially while doing all of these other things. And with my mom passing, we knew it was coming. It was over time from the cancer. The idea of her passing and the reality of it was always there, but um, losing her, and I was extremely close with my dad. I worked with my dad for 10 years. He and I were more alike than I even realized at the time. I feel like I realized more and more with each passing year how similar we were. But I had an amazing relationship with my dad, and I did with my mom as well. I was incredibly fortunate. Um, but it was still such a this doesn't feel real kind of feeling. I think for me, I've always been kind of a loner in the sense of I like to do my own thing and usually do it all myself because that's just how I am. And my brother, he was an athlete, played every sport he could get his hands on. And when he was 17, he was attacked by a bull when he was working on a local farm. He had been working on the farm for about 4 years. I was 13 at the time. He was 17. And the bull got spooked. It attacked him and it flipped him, bucked him up into the air, and he landed on his neck. And that's what paralyzed him. Um, so he became a quadriplegic at 17. And um, I was 13 at the time, not in any sports, wasn't really interested in sports, and my parents weren't going to force me into it if I didn't want to do it. They were like, "Well, no, you don't have to do everything your brother does." I was lucky that my brother and I are similar in a lot of ways, but we're also complete opposites in others, and they understood that. They never tried to force it, but seeing him lose all of these things that he loved so much, I had a lot of guilt like immediately and just wishing like that should have been me. I don't play sports. I love video games. I can do that from a chair. Like I don't need to, it was a feeling of feeling like I had been taking things for granted, and I was just like, I need to do something, and I don't know what, but I feel like I need to do something, and so while he was in the hospital for a few months, I was kind of backpacking around different family and friends' houses. My mom was up in Columbus with him in the ICU for a few months. My dad was going back and forth from Columbus to Chillicothe, which is about an hour drive. And they were also adding on an addition to the back of the house to have a handicap accessible bedroom for him. And the school year was going on. So it was like I had friends and family who were there that took me in to get me to and from school while everything was going on. And my family that I was staying with, I was helping them paint their house that summer. And or at the end of the school year, right into summer, I guess, because it happened in April. So about a month and a half of the school year was when it happened, and then the rest of it was during the summer. But I helped them paint their house, and she was like, "What do you want for it? I'll take you to the store." And went to the store and got my first skateboard because that was like the only thing that I had any remote interest in of a physical thing. It was just this idea of like, I don't want to take this for granted. I need to do something. And I don't care about team sports at all. And but I loved the Tony Hawk games. I would look at the like Trans World skate magazines at Kroger where my mom worked. I always thought it looked cool. So I got my first skateboard during that time frame, and within a month of that, I also got my first camera. So my aunt and uncle who live in Florida, they flew in to see my brother, and they brought me told me they had a gift for me, and it was a Kodak Easy Share, little 3 megapixel digital camera with the printer dock that you could sit it on, and it could print out your own 4x6s.
That's sick.
And it was this sort of like they knew I was already interested in cameras. I had a camcorder before that, me and my friends, watching Jackass and uh, doing things like that. Like I always loved playing with cameras when I was a kid, so already had a camcorder at that point. And they just said, while your mom and dad are obviously like busy right now, they're not able to spend the time like they normally are. So why don't you use this to kind of document what you're doing with, family and friends, and, 2 or 3 times a week when I'd get up to Columbus to see my brother and see my parents, and I share pictures with him, and also taking photos of him in the hospital as he was recovering. And that was sort of like the direction I was given with the camera, was just like document what's going on. And that was that kind of set me down this 20 plus years of, I haven't stopped since then. And so I say all that to say, my mom, losing her also meant that for my brother's sake, my wife and we were moving to where my parents were, because they shared a house with my brother. So that he has, like he can drive his own van, like he has a level of independence to an extent. But if he does need anything, and for other things that I am needed there for on a daily basis, kind of stepping into that role in her shoes. And that, I think, has been uh, just one of the elements of losing her, and I think just the difference it's made, and just a completely different season of life, a different beginning in a lot of ways. It's like my wife and I and our kids, we moved here at the beginning of 2022. And so we've been here for a few years now. And living with my brother again has been incredible because uh, we've always had a great relationship, but to also see my kids get to be around him every day, and vice versa, him get to be around them every day. Um, there's been so much unexpected that happened seemingly like over and over there for a few years, and a lot of loss. But all things considered, um, couldn't think of a better place to be than where we are right now. Just my perspective and appreciation, and reprioritizing what really matters and what really doesn't. The last few years have taught me so much. And it's always one of those things where you always say like, oh, I wish I could have said this, or I wish I could have done that. But when you lose someone like that, you're never short on, I wish I could just ask this one specific thing, or this, it's a lot of the little things that you don't think of, that you realize, um, at least in their aspect, just how much their presence really was. And so the last few years, it's become more of a challenge than any other years in terms of putting myself out there and sharing. Um, it could also be, I do think social media and discourse online has become a bit more toxic at times in more recent years. Arguments and controversy, and it's that's what people enjoy. Not necessarily for my sake, but the broad picture. Social media isn't as fun of a place to be, to engage with, and so I've just found myself wanting to share less and less, and wanting to engage less and less with apps like Instagram. And I don't share hardly ever anymore, other than in my YouTube videos, because it's like, at the very least, these are, I feel like I've carved out a little corner for myself with people who know me, and I don't have to try and be anything other than that. Um, I struggled for a little while after my mom passed, and while while we were moving our entire belongings into this house, and I was moving all of my parents' belongings out and into this barn, which is where I'm at now and where my office is. But um, I was trying to just like keep up with life and everything. We were expecting our third child. I was navigating new daily roles and things with my brother, and uh, just tried to keep it going. And I thought, all right, here in a little, give it some time, and I'll feel great, and I'll get back to just my usual self. And there's been this like level of guilt over grieving taking too long, where I think I don't feel I'm maybe my best self on camera. I don't think I'm my best self behind the camera with the work I'm making. There's this feeling that I've had for years now, almost 4 years to the day, um, where I've had that grief feeling, that spot of loss. And it's one of those things that I've just thought over time, at least by a certain point, I should be good to go and I shouldn't be feeling that way. But there are still days recently that I still feel like I don't know if I've made a dent in this, really, really grieving this. And I know I've grieved, but it's just, it's one of those things that I'm always thinking, all right, get over it, do what you got to do. When my brother's accident happened, the idea of, hey, it could always be worse, like suck it up and just keep moving. That was kind of what I immediately attached to, was my problems are really not that big picture, so it's not a big deal. Um, but that also caused me to repress any possible, feeling of sadness or feeling down on myself. Like it was always that in my mind. So uh, over the years, as I've gotten older, I've tried to let myself, feel things and process things and understand it's not all on a timer. But um, I share all this because the idea of putting myself out there and sharing on YouTube has given me so many opportunities and so many connections with people that I've made. And my daughter, she's on the autism spectrum. She has an intellectual disability. Being able to share learning about autism and learning about that whole process, especially when she was, a toddler, and hearing from other parents who just watch me because they like photography, but they can relate because their child is, autistic, and they went through the same thing 10 years ago. Or people who email me say, hey, I've watched you for years. We just had our first child about a year ago. We're starting to notice some things, and being able to just connect with real people about real things that really matter. It's like I couldn't ask for more of a fulfilling position to be in that regard. Um, but the feeling of putting yourself in front of a camera when you don't feel the best has been a challenge for me, where I've just thought, I don't feel I feel so low right now that I feel if I'm on camera, I'm gonna bring everyone down with me. You know what I mean? Like it was this feeling of like I can't fake my energy, I've always been pretty much, I mean, if you watch the early videos, it's painful because I was extremely, extremely uncomfortable. But I still have to like really work up the courage to do it because it's just not something that naturally comes to me. And I think if I were to try and fake it, you could see right through it, and it would feel disingenuous anyway. So um, that's been something that's just kind of been brewing the last couple of years where I've just thought, I've been doing this a long time, and I know I want to continue doing it because of the fulfillment that it brings, but how long do I want to attach the financial responsibility? Like, are there other things that I want to do outside of this? Because the whole idea of it, or the whole trade-off in my mind was, yeah, it's not fun for me to put myself in front of a camera, but it's it's not the hardest thing in the world to do. I can still do it and I can get through it. Um, but there will come a time, I'm sure, where, I need to do something else. And the one thing about it that really kind of, like I said, the trade-off, the availability. I'm always available for my daughter, for my brother. If there's ever any emergency situation, which there have been plenty, I'm there in a second, And I've been trying to think like the idea of doing something completely unrelated to photography and better yet, where I don't have to be on a camera, that would be great. And so I have,
Life-changing moments.
yes, yes.
I
So
just wanted to touch base real quick with your mom.
yes, yes,
I can honestly do. We have so much in common.
yeah.
My mom was a breast cancer survivor, but she was also before that on the transplant list to get a new lung.
Oh, wow.
But because she had cancer, she had to be cancer free for 5 years. So that pushed her on the
Uh,
list. And we waited for years to get that call. And we got a call from her doctor saying, hey, if we don't get somebody in the next week, we're going to have to take you off the list. And it was literally 2 days later, she got a call at midnight to make it to the hospital for a transplant.
oh my God.
So at the time, she was the second oldest person in British Columbia to ever receive a transplant.
Really?
Yeah, so I actually got to see my mom. My mom had been sick most of my adult life. She had emphysema and then battled breast cancer, dual mastectomy, like the works.
Yeah.
Um, but I got to see my mom ride a bicycle again
Oh, man.
and walk to the park with my kids.
Yes.
And everything was going great. It lasted for about 7 months until it started to reject.
Mm.
My mom ended up being in the hospital for a solid year.
Oh my God.
I quit my job, um, lived on savings, lived on unemployment insurance,
Yeah.
tried to be with my mom every single day. My car got stolen in the middle of this, so I'm
God.
dealing with that.
Yeah.
Um, and when she left, when she was gone, I can relate with you because it took me, like, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Insane. 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And I, up until a couple of years ago, would still call her number anytime something great happened.
Yep.
Be like, oh, I'm so excited. Oh, she was so happy. And then the phone rings and you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. The man, the amount the amount of times I've tried to send a picture of one of my kids to my mom when I, take a photo with my phone and it would immediately send it to Molly, my wife, send it to my mom. And yeah, I still find myself doing that. And to be living in the house that her and my dad lived in previously as well. And my oldest son, he's about to turn 9, and he and my mom got to. My dad passed away when he was just a baby, so he doesn't have any memories of him, but he spent a lot of time with my mom, and they just had the best relationship. And so also navigating not only my own grieving but with my son, and yeah, it's been a very transformative kind of experience as a parent and as a son,
Yeah, for
to
sure.
navigate that, man.
Well,
Yeah.
and on one hand, you know what? I'm glad it brings our conversation closer.
Yes,
because we
absolutely.
connect on a different level than besides being in the creative space and doing that. It's the
Yeah.
real level, man. Losing your parents at any age sucks. Losing
Yeah.
your parents when you're young,
Yeah.
losing your we both lost our dads unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Both of our moms, we had, that time frame. They would
That's the
tell us.
thing. Yeah.
And like we have so much in common, man. I'm so grateful for your openness and your willingness to share with me today.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to. And like I said at the beginning, the whole goal in being an open book and just sharing the good and the bad is that, like, we all are going through stuff that most of us don't even know about. Most of the time people aren't sharing that sort of thing, and rightfully so. People aren't entitled to know everything about everyone's life, but I try to share any of that in hopes that people can see, like, they're not the only ones going through that kind of stuff. I've thankfully, with everything he's had to face, I don't think my brother has had more than a millisecond of anxiety in his life, whereas I came out the womb anxious. Like, I've dealt with anxiety and depression since I was a kid, and uh, oftentimes it was even the more frustrating because I felt guilty over it, because I was like, I have a great life. I want my closest friend, someone who is like a brother to me, that lived next door, um, practically lived with us because his home life was not good. And I saw firsthand, um, I was always aware of, like, man, I'm this anxious all the time. I'm so thankful that, like, home is safe. You know what I mean? And but it was always such a frustrating thing for me to think, like, why can't I just be okay? Why am I worried and constantly, just anxious about everything? But the more I've shared in that, the more I've realized that that's not I'm not the only person who has experienced that, and that's not uh unique to my childhood, to my upbringing, my race, my anything. Everyone struggles with that kind of stuff, and the thing with loss and grief is, like, yeah, we're all gonna lose someone. Doesn't have to be a parent, but um, I think anyone who has lost someone that they're that close with, or that has that big of an impact, you can relate. And yeah, man, I mean, cameras are exciting, photography is exciting, but, like, at the end of the day, we're people, and that's where the connection really is. And if photography can be a vehicle to tell those stories for that connection, then, all the better.
Yeah. Oh man. I feel everything you said. Like
Yeah.
it hits me. Um, Being on this journey of discovering life without my mom, who was my best friend, sorry, I'm bumping my microphone. Um, it's been interesting 10 years, but it feels like yesterday,
Right.
where, like I said, you want to call and tell them something that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I already struggle enough with my own self-confidence, my own imposter syndrome, my own traumas, my own anxiety, my own depression. But when I started this show, my whole goal was to just not have walls, was to just lay it out there. Because if our story, Matt, if our story touches one person, it helps one person know they're not alone.
Yep.
In this time that we've spent chatting and getting, starting the beginning of our friendship through
Yeah.
this platform, we did what we wanted to do. We
Yeah.
wanted people to know that we shared a story, this authentic conversation. And when we talk about community, it's truly building community.
Yeah.
It's not about like, hey, this is the cool it word. It's the SEO optimized word of the
Right.
day. It's about like, I really want to have someone go, hey, I'm going to be, in Ohio. What do I do? Where do I go? Hey, Matt, where does he go? What, like, he's
Yeah.
really looking. Like, I want to be able to pass on information and share and uplift people instead
Yeah.
of always being beat down. The world wants us to be beat down.
Yeah.
And if we can build this small community of 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 100,000 people that really want to support each other and
Yeah.
really want to be there when times are tough, as you saw through your GoFundMe, like the world is truly amazing.
Yeah. There's far more good people than that are out there than the social media feeds will tell you. You know, the good-hearted people are not the ones making headlines or causing debates. You know what I mean? Or it's there are a lot of people out there that yeah, feel that on a human level. And yeah, man, the community and not just from one person to one person, but you know, like with the Wednesday night live streams that I do, we've been talking about getting a Discord set up so that it's an ongoing conversation, an extension of that with everybody, and it's not just me broadcasting to everyone there that's there to listen. I'm like, I know that if you all are enjoying what I'm saying, you would probably just as much enjoy what each of you have to say to each other. You know what I mean? So I'm like, let's have something where you're not just getting my take on things and saying hi to each other in the chat, but like if you guys are close in you know in the States or wherever, like you guys could meet up. You guys could become like it's not just all about you know the going to the one person. You know what I mean? Like this idea of community should really always be like let's extend that. You know what I mean? Like let's with welcoming arms, like the amount of people that I've met all over the world just through photography and people that if I happen to be in a random city, I know this photographer and this photographer, I can ask them, you know, it's yeah, we're all so much more connected through social media and yeah, making good use of that as opposed to just the rage bait and you know, the stuff that people just try to get clicks and engagement, and it's all analytical and numbers, and it's just that kind of stuff just sucks the fun out of it for me. I always say I'm a terrible YouTuber because I don't stick to a schedule or a strategy or a template. You know, I just try to make things that I enjoy and try to keep myself engaged with it so that I'm not just phoning it in, I guess. But yeah, it's I don't know, man.
We should do like a joint live stream.
That'd be super fun.
You
I'd
know,
love that.
it would be a good way to let the community know what it's like when, you know, people get together and work together.
Yeah,
And we're doing it for the
absolutely.
love of sharing, not
Right.
anything else. I'm not someone who cares about my follower count.
Yeah.
You know, I want to share true information from the people that I have on. You know, that 90% of it become really good friends.
Right.
You know, they're people that I reach out to and they reach out to me and we just have great conversations.
Yeah.
You know, and it lets people know there's more than one option if you feel alone.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Like just reach out. So we've got up to the point where you've taken on a real person job.
Yes, yes. As of 3 weeks ago, I started the day before our original scheduled time. So I am working in a wood shop making picture frames.
Super cool.
Monday through Thursday at the very late, like Monday through Thursday, I have a set time schedule while the kids are in school. Drop the boys off, go clock in, and then clock out when I go to pick them up. But then I can kind of just come and go as I please at any time as well. Any hours like on the weekend or evenings if I wanted to pick up. It's immediately the flexibility, like we talked about earlier, that has been on my mind where I've thought, what do I want to do if I really don't want to attach income to the YouTube channel anymore? If I want to kind of shift things around, what would it look like? And so I started, you know, taking more photo and video work again. but I thought I still have this feeling of like, what if I just did something totally different? And I've done like any small like personal DIY woodworking projects I've done. I've always just had so much fun with it and have wanted to do more of it in my free time. Um, and I know a guy here in town who it's funny. I met him like 12 years ago. I was walking downtown and he noticed my M6. He noticed the Leica and was like, "Is that a Leica?" And around here, like just the odds of someone knowing a random, like, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like, yeah, how do you even know like what that is to spot it from, you know? He was like, "Oh, my grandpa had one." And so we started talking and uh long story short, we've always just kind of kept in touch. Always just been a fascinating guy. He's had got a wood shop. He makes picture frames for artists, like ceramic artists that do like ceramic tiles. He makes frames for these ceramic tiles that are then sold. Uh, a lot of the frames go to like museum gift shops, places that need a lot of frames like all the time. So it's like all wholesale stuff. It's not really a frame shop where people come in and have stuff framed or even buy a custom frame. I mean, they can, but it's really just a lot of like wholesale stuff. So a lot of picture frames, and I was helping him out with a project. Someone he knew came across these glass negatives from 1890s all around our area and a little bit in Michigan, Mackinac Island. Looks like the family took a trip there or something, like 280 some glass 4x5 plate negatives that have survived from the 1890s. And so someone he knew, she had these, had them in storage or something, and she's like, I don't know what to do with them. You would know more than I would. Here, take these. So he was like, all right, I don't know, what to do with this. And ran into him and he was telling me about it. And I was like, this is my wheelhouse. Let me help you with this. I can digitize everything like to the highest quality. So I went over and was helping him go through that, which has just been fascinating to see. And I was asking him how work was going. And he mentioned that previous employee he had, who was there for 12 years, she had to retire. She was having health issues and he was having trouble finding someone to fill in her spot. And she was primarily in sanding and finishing on the picture frames. And I was just kind of like, you having trouble finding someone for that? And he was like, yeah, we've tried, a few people from the temp agency and they're just either not showing up and not, it's just not being reliable. And I'm like, for a job sanding picture frames, you're having a hard time finding, and it was just like on my mind. And I, later that evening, I had been thinking about it and I was just telling my wife what he had said. And before I even got the words out, she was like, do it. Like she knew she could tell I was like, I know and that's all I've been thinking about. And so I just hit him up and I was like, are you looking for anyone with like a certain kind of experience or what's the job requirement? And he was like, no, anyone can do it. Even if you've never sanded before, like I could train anyone. He was like, "Are you interested?" And I'm like, "I'm absolutely interested in that." So I went in the next day. He showed me around the shop and what it would look like, and I was like, "Dude, I can do this. Like anything that I don't know already, I can learn and I can work. Like that, sign me up." Because it was as come and go as I want, and as many hours as I can flexibly take. He can use it. He's just an incredibly kind and uh I don't know how to describe him. It's in a lot of ways it's felt um like he's someone that I could actually consider a mentor to, not just working underneath him in the wood shop, but just in general. He's just always had a good head on his shoulders, and so working alongside him was like an immediate thing where I'm like, yeah, I would love to learn from Dard. And it's an incredible, like, the building was built in 1830, massive historic building, massive wood shop, full of shop cats that are always lurking around and hanging out there. Uh, it's just like there's something about going in and I'm literally just sanding. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. One day he had me doing some drywall because he knows I've done some drywall work before. So I was helping him with a different project. But that's the kind of thing that I love where I'm like, I can just go in and whatever you need, just tell me what you need me to do and I can do it. I don't have to think about the next thing. I'm not in charge of the next job. I'm not in charge of any of those decisions where I can just plug in and do what I need to do and then clock out and enjoy my time while I'm doing it. Like all of this came about so unexpected. And I had been thinking for a while, like, not like, okay, I need to find something new to do by this date. Like there was never even I hadn't even gotten that far. It was just this idea of like, what else can I do? I've been a photographer for 20 some years and this is all I've ever done outside of, working with my dad. I had other jobs like when I was in high school and things like that, but career wise and like long term things, what else can I do? And there was that feeling of like the lack of confidence of like, am I useful in any other way? Where do I fit into the big picture society if not a photographer? And it was just this feeling of like, I don't know. I've done just this for so long now. Um, and so when this happened, I'm the first one to overthink and to delay things and um, to not just jump. And this was one where I was like, I'm doing it. I'm just worst that can happen is it doesn't work out. Um, and yeah, I'm on my third week now. And he was telling me today, he was like, "You're sure you're enjoying this? You're not going to leave on me?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm in. Like I've just enjoyed it so much, and it's given me that routine of something that I haven't had in years, and also just the ability to work and make the money that's needed without having to make every single decision in that process. It was the first time I had a new day at a new job in 15 years, so it was I was a little nervous leading up to it, but it's been amazing. And so I know that I'm going to be there for God knows how long because it's just something that I know will work with my family's schedule and my day-to-day routine, and I can't give that up for anything. So I'm still doing everything I'm doing and have been doing on YouTube, and we'll continue to do that. But there's just been this sigh of relief I've had where I've thought, okay, I am capable of being more than just a photographer. I can do other things, and yeah,
It's a nice feeling too,
it is, man.
right?
It
Like
is.
when
It's
you don't have to worry. You're like,
yeah.
I don't want to call it brainless work, but it's not coming back
Well,
and
well
doing
that
everything
that's
you
the
do.
yeah, that's what Dard was saying. He was like, it's not exciting work. Are you sure? And I'm like, trust me, this is it's like meditation for me. Like the ability to just put my headphones on and listen to music and just look at nothing but sanding these picture frames over and over. Like today I was leaving and he was like kind of saying it as if he felt bad, like looking at the stack of frames that are waiting for me tomorrow morning. And he's like, "You sure you really don't mind?" And I'm like, "Dude, trust me, I should be billing you for therapy rather than you paying me because this is yeah, it's been amazing."
And what Matt meant by listening to music was listening to the Life of Phys podcast. That's what
Exactly.
he meant.
That is exactly what I meant.
I
Yes.
got two questions for you,
Yes,
and
yes,
then
sir.
we'll get you on with your evening.
Yes, sir.
Your first skateboard, do you remember what it was?
I do. It was a Zorlak skateboard, believe it or not.
A Zorlak, eh?
Yeah, so it wasn't like an old school shape or anything. I bought it from a Champ Sports. That was the board that I got when I was helping my family paint their house. We went to Champ Sports. They were having like a closeout sale. It was the last of the skateboards that they were selling. So all the completes and everything were marked super down. And it was this, all it was, I've looked online for pictures of it. It's not like a graphic necessarily. It was just a green stain on the bottom ply. And then towards like the bottom truck holes, it just had in white print the Zorlak like Z logo, and then it said Zorlak Skateboards. Um, so it was that. I'm assuming they were blank or rebranded as Zorlak trucks that were on there, but yeah, it was a Zorlak complete from Champ Sports, believe it or not.
That mine was an Alva Eddie Reddigi,
Oh hell yeah.
and I was an Alva fan for a long, long time.
I bet, dude.
And then, second question, you have a book that's available called Surveyor.
Yes, yes, I do.
How was that process?
It was good. It was so I kind of set out with the plan to revisit photographing Chillicothe. I had done a book of photos of Chillicothe that were made in 2013 and 14. That's when those photos from that book were made. But I printed the book, the second edition, in 2020, and so once that was out and it was like, I'm doing this book, I'm doing one last run, the second edition, and I'm going to do it the way I've like always wanted to make. I'm going to make the book how I really want to make it, and then it's done. And then I'm moving on to something different. And so after that, I kind of wanted to reassess how I was photographing the area, and just kind of see what it would look like to kind of go out with the same intentions, but with a totally different look to the town as it had changed, and also just how I had changed in that time. So I started the project in August of 2021 or September of 2021. And a month into it was when my mom passed away, which also it was like things were okay. Things spread, the cancer spread to her brain, and that's when we knew like, okay, now clock is ticking. And it was about a month through that process. um so immediately that we kind of got to the drawing board and was like, okay, we're going to need to move, we're going to need to figure out all this stuff. The same time that we found out that the cancer had spread was also when we found out we were having our third child. So there was a lot of uncertainty, then a move on top of that, and all of it kind of coincided. I set the time of like, I'm going to take the next year to just photograph what this area looks like and how I'm responding to it, and uh, was not setting out to kind of approach it, or approach it at least with the same thoughts in mind that I did. Everything happening kind of changed to where it was much more about like, what does home look like to me as I move? And we're still in the county, but we're on the other end of it, and my immediate surroundings and the things I pass day to day, and the things that catch my eye are totally different now. And I'm kind of starting over in this sense of like what home feels like. The house that we moved from is the house that my brother and I grew up in. So it was
Oh,
like
wow.
leaving the childhood home to the new home, but also living with my brother and living in my parents' other previous place. And uh, there were a lot of these feelings of like, what home was really looking and feeling like. Not in the home specifically, but just locally, in terms of how I've always photographed this area. What does that look like? And so that was kind of where my mind was at in the process. Tried to just trust my gut with not overthinking things or controlling things too much. I just put out the previous book, and uh, it did far better than I ever anticipated. So there was that feeling of like, I don't want to just try and recreate what I just did because I know people will like that. I want to try and like really just let myself approach this how it feels right. And so Didn't develop any of the film for about 6 to 8 months. Somewhere in there was when I started finally developing things, because I was like, I don't want to even look at the photos and decide, does this look good, and start getting ahead of myself, like trying to put things together that don't need to be put together yet. It was like, let me just gather all of the pieces, anything that catches my eye, and just let me put it all together then, in the end. So after about a year, focused on just developing all the film, scanning, putting the pieces together, trying to kind of just share essentially it almost in some ways feels a bit like my peripheral of just kind of navigating that year, and a lot of my new kind of daily routes and daily routines. Um, and so I put the book out uh, last year. Last year was when the book was finished, printed, and actually being shipped out to everybody. So that is the most recent one. There are still copies of that one available on my website, and I am currently planning to release a new, smaller book, more of a zine, on a paper mill that was in business here in our town for over 100 years, and it just shut down over the summer, and I got to go in. Uh, just by asking and putting out a plea, like, to the community, like, help me get access in here. I want to make a record of what this place is and what it does, and the people that are here before it closes down. So I was able to do that. I was able to make a lot of photos of the plant, and at least some of the people that were there. So going to be putting together like a small zine from that, and try and raise some funds for the mill relief fund that was set up to kind of help with some of the mill workers this holiday season.
Well, you let me know when that's ready to go, and I'll push it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
And
That'd be amazing.
I'll make sure I can get it out in front of as many people as possible.
I appreciate that.
Help out that fund as much as
Yeah.
we can.
I,
And if you ever want to get rid of one of your books, I can tell you where you can send one.
Hey, I got you. I got you. Say less. Give me the address. It'll be on its way tomorrow, man.
I will send it over to you, man. I'd appreciate
You got
that.
it. Of course. I'd be happy to.
I'm a huge fan of the people who, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the people I invite on my show.
I
I'm
appreciate
very
that.
lucky because I don't have to answer to anyone. No one dictates
Yeah.
who I talk to.
Yeah.
And like, I knew within the first 5 minutes of our conversation today that I got a new friend for life.
Straight up. Yep.
Because like instantly connect, like with it was like snap. Okay, cool. I've known him
Yeah.
forever.
Yep.
So, dude, I appreciate all your time today. I appreciate your wisdom, your willingness to share your story, and I thank you. As someone who has dealt with some of the same things you've been through.
Yeah.
It helps me know that I'm not alone, and
Right.
it's going to resonate with many people who listen. So the last thing we do is, where's the best place for people to get a hold of you?
I appreciate you having me for those conversations, because it's I have held myself back at times from doing other podcasts over the last few years. I've said no quite a bit because I've thought I don't want to bring my, kind of like what I said earlier, like, I'm kind of down right now, and I don't know that that's really the kind of vibe that that would be right. So I appreciate you having a space where people can share this kind of stuff, and not just for a place where people can share, but also where people can listen. For the people who aren't sharing, again, just so other people can hear it. So I'm with you on that. And for anyone who does want to reach out, you can find me at mattdayphoto.com, on social media at mattdayphoto, pretty much anywhere. And yeah, that's where you can find me. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm on YouTube, so come hang out.
And yeah, well, definitely let's figure out a way to do a joint
Yeah.
stream. We'll chat with everybody.
That'd be fun, man.
It'd be a good time for sure.
Yeah, go down.
I have goals of doing a cross Canada, across US road trip
Hell yeah.
next couple of years here. I want to build an RV and then just have at her, just
Hey,
explore.
you like barbecue?
Oh, I love barbecue.
I got you. I got you.
Awesome, man.
I'll make sure you eat right when you're passing through Ohio.
Amazing. Again, dude, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing the story. Thank you for being open and willing to share, to help others know that even though life feels shitty, life feels tough, it feels like you have all this weight on your shoulders, that as long as you can see that little bit of light, life is pretty good.
Yep.
Life is what we make of it through all the ups, downs. Everything that happens is usually a speed bump on the journey.
Yep.
So thank you for sharing. Thank you for becoming a friend. Thank you for what you do for everybody else, man. And I look forward to cheering you on, whether it's me making funny comments so your followers hit me up 152,000 times, or just getting together. After this, I'll fire you an email with my my address and my phone number, and
for sure, man.
Would love to keep in touch.
Yes, absolutely.
And
absolutely,
and I'm sure I'll have lots of questions about my jump into trying to do YouTube myself.
Yeah.
Right now it's just audio only on YouTube. So it's kind of like I'm getting more comfortable in front of the camera. I'm very comfortable talking. So
for sure, it's
just figuring out how to flip the switch in the brain of getting it to fire.
1000%, man. And I have to manually flip that switch every time I sit down. So
yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening. I know you're a few hours ahead of me, so
yes, sir.
I'm 3:30, so that means you're probably what, 6:30?
Yep, 6:30 here.
Awesome. And dude, let's stay in touch. Let's chat.
Absolutely. Thank you, man, for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, dude. Awesome. I'm going to make some lunch because I'm hungry.
Cool. Awesome, man.
All right, dude.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for the email.
Yep. I'll set it over here before I hop in the kitchen. So.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
See you.
Talk to you. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Phys Podcast. I hope today's conversation brought you insight, inspiration, or just a fresh perspective on the creative journey. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. For updates, behind-the-scene content, and more, please follow us on all social medias at LIFE_OF_PHYS. And don't forget to check out the show notes for links and resources from today's episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep living the life of creativity.